That is the wrong screen. But hey.
Ah!
Hi.
Hello.
Hey, Internet. It's Jake from Mini Terrain Domain, and this is Scribes and Scrolls, the Candlekeep Mysteries. We are in Book 3. This is Chapter 19, 3 Dragon Aunties. And we will get going with our D&D adventure in just a few moments. First off, as you may have noticed, we are down one Ricky. There is a there's a slight chance that he could show up, but we're planning that we won't have Ricky tonight. So we're sad about that. But Dwight's here, so we don't have to worry about Ricky asking what Mizya thinks about any given situation. We have just a couple quick announcements, and then we're going to get into the recap and the game. First off, I would like to direct your attention below Dwight in the lower left-hand corner, where you see the Talon and Claw logo and Run Right Play. These are our sponsors. I'm going to type in MTD Claw, which you can do with an exclamation point in front of it anytime you want. Check out that link to the Talon and Claw Etsy shop, where you can pick yourself up some pretty cool wooden dice accessories like these dice vaults. They've got dice trays and coasters and just big old giant wooden Dungeon Master screens.
Whoa.
Customized.
Oh yeah, this one was a gift from the Jaspers team in 2019 or 2020, I forget which year. But I haven't been able to play in person with it. I haven't DM'd a game in person since then, so it was right around the time of that year. So, but yeah, check that out. And when you go to purchase your stuff from the Talon and Claw Etsy shop, use code MTDClaw to get 10% off of your purchase. Also, we invite you to check out our good friend Keel over at Run Right Play. Keel has a community that is just all about collaboration and community building. Just one of the bright lights of humanity you'll find there. Keel is just an awesome person, has an incredible community, and you can check out his Patreon, join that, become a part of that community, and take part in their or receive the digital and or physical copies of the monthly zine out of there. So check that out. Up above Jordan's head, you will see that we have domain tomes. Those are a way that you, the viewers, can have a little bit of an influence on our game. Simply by subscribing, resubbing, gift subs, all those kind of things, tipping $5, cheering 500 bits, or you can use our new support link at Coffee. I just put the link in the chat. It's also this little blue bar right below me here. You can either become a monthly supporter, or you can do a one-time thing. Those will translate to domain tomes for the players. If you were to do so, it would look something like this.
Ooh.
And then when they use them, it looks something like this.
And then everybody yells at me because it's usually me.
I was
going to
say, when you say they, do you mean Cari?
Yeah. When Cari uses them, that's what it looks like. The way those are used, of course, is one domain tome grants any player advantage on any roll. 3 domain tomes lets them re-roll a die roll, and 5 domain tomes lets them make me re-roll a die roll. But they can only do that with your support. Speaking of memberships on the Coffee, I do want to say a thank you to Hawkmere and Ashenworks, who are adventurer level supporters, and RQ Stefan, our own curator of the clips, is supporting at the hero level. Thank you so much. I'm in the final stages of setting up the exclusives for that as well. So when you become a member on the Coffee, you will get things like free overlays, overlay templates, adventure, one-shot seeds, and things like that. So be sure to follow that link and check that out. The last thing that I do want to talk to you about before we get going is, of course, that you matter. You may not believe this, you may be struggling with this, but your presence makes a difference. It can be hard. It can definitely be a struggle for a variety of reasons. And first off, it is okay. It's perfectly okay to struggle. And one of the best things you can do is self-care, take care of yourself. But the other really great thing you can do is, if you need it, get help. Reach out to somebody, find somebody to talk to. One of the greatest things I ever did 2 years ago was finally taking that step and finding a professional counselor to speak to. And I now look forward to those meetings. To have somebody to talk to. It's helped me immensely dealing with my own depression and anxiety. But like many of us, and like I was a couple years ago, I did not know where to go. It is as simple as typing in our chat, !help, and then taking that URL that pops up there, findahelpline.com, all one word, findahelpline.com. Click on that link, immediately bookmark it, and save it. Save it for yourself, save it for a friend in need. It is a wonderful resource that is super simple to use. Just put in your location and they will populate dozens of resources for a variety of things you might find yourself needing help for. Please use that resource if you need it, or share it with somebody you think needs it. All right, friends, I do believe it is time to play some Dungeons and Dragons.
Woo, let's go.
Most recently, the gang has been investigating a book called The Book of the Raven. A book that seems to keep disappearing from the library, only to be returned by a raven. Teera found it while on guard one night, and within it also found a mysterious map. They were talking to the folks at Candlekeep, who gave them directions of where to find this and said, dude, please, this is now sanctioned. Find out what this is all about. So they headed out. Second day into their journey, the full moon came out. All day, Assyria was... Teera, how was Assyria acting?
Like a witch, but with the bee.
Let's say that's not what you said last week.
No, it's not. I was very tired last week. Now I'm healthy and well rested. So,
yes, Assyria was in quite a bad mood, which culminated in her, in the middle of the night while on watch, succumbing to the power of the moon and the first manifestation of symptoms from her sire's mark, a branding-like scar on her chest, and she transformed into a wolf and ran wild through the woods with Sorin, and almost soloed a owlbear in wolf form and feasted on it. The next day, the party found her next to the carcass. They brought her back to camp, where she completely disclosed what was going on, and they did everything they could to assure her that they were going to stick by her side. They continued on their way, traveling throughout all of the next day, at dusk arriving on the outskirts of what appeared to be an abandoned town. When they got to the abandoned town, they did find a single plume of smoke. Upon investigating further, they realized that, or rather encountered, a mysterious dragonborn woman who invited them into her stagecoach. Though small it seemed, they all went in and found themselves in a much larger space, like a cozy cabin decorated in all manner of bric-a-brac and what have you. While inside, they met the three dragon aunties who were named Anti-Hero, Anti-Nocturne, and Anti-Potentia, a red, a black, and a green dragonborn. Mizya seemed rather unsurprised and just walked over to take a seat across from Anti-Hero, who was knitting, pulled out a book and continued reading. And that's where we are picking up. It is there's food cooking, and they are all in the presence of the dragon aunties, these 3 dragonborn. Gang, what do you want to do?
Teera is just sort of sinking into her chair after the absinthe, and it's just sort of kind of like casually looking around the cabin, sort of in a fog.
Oh yeah, I left that part out. They all toasted drink a celebratory, or not a celebratory, a welcome in the form of an absinthe ritual.
I don't think, did Asaria and Doc, I don't think, drank, did they? Because Asaria felt like she had a hangover, and Doc doesn't like food or drink or anything fun.
Would Mizya have partaken in the absinthe?
Mizya would have said, no thank you, I prefer mimosas.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it's
If we ever get a tavern or something, we need to have Mizya's mimosas on the menu.
Oh yes, dude, amazing.
Mimosas.
So I'm just sort of like
Mimosas.
Oh my god.
What?
Mizya's. I would just kind of be looking around, and I would eventually be like, so do we have anywhere to sleep in here? Or is it all just one room? Do we get our own room? What is your question, Doc?
It's more of a statement.
What is your statement, Doc?
I'm going to stand over there while you're sleeping.
Not
Not in the corner, but against the wall.
Just for the record, Doc, if you could not... I don't know how comfortable it is for you to just carry your eyes in a normal way, because when you kind of do this while you're sleeping, it's very, very unsettling.
Just a little bit.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't sleep, so I don't know what you want me to do.
Could you just shut your eyes while you're not sleeping?
That.
I could.
Will you please?
But if I close my eyes, then I won't be able to see anything.
That's the point.
We kind of... It doesn't... You could open them every so often, Doc, but just when you stand there with your eyes... It's sort of off-putting.
Hmm.
Oh, do what you want. Do what you want. Do what you want.
Oh, okay. I will.
Is there any more absinthe, Aunties?
There is as much as you want.
I could go for another, if you're willing to prepare me one. It seemed like it was kind of a process.
As you're saying that already, I think it was I'm trying to remember which one was giving you the absinthe.
Anti-Nocturne made us the absinthe.
Yes, Anti-Nocturne then is already sort of deftly moving her hands around and again placing the sugar cubes on the slotted spoons. The absinthe is poured into the glasses. Teera, the Tressum, Mr. Clumpy, leaps up onto your shoulders and makes himself comfortable.
Oh, God.
No, not respecting your space whatsoever.
Get off! What the fuck are you doing? Hello. Hello.
No, sorry. Mr. Clumpy makes himself comfortable wherever he can.
Yeah, I can tell. Hello. Is he just gonna stay there? Can I touch him? Is he gonna, pee on me or something?
Probably not. The peeing part.
Okay.
You can touch him, you can pet him.
Oh, okay. Ooh, I don't think you liked that. Anyway.
So,
Alright. Well,
anybody else who wants the absinthe may have some. If this is your second absinthe, Teera, please make a Constitution saving throw.
Okay.
This is fine.
That's fine.
This
It's a
is
10.
fine.
You
Okay.
are quite comfortable. You feel this is different than an ale or a liquor buzz. You feel very relaxed, and you feel where you're sitting. You don't feel yourself in contact with the chair. You sort of feel like you're
Floating.
just floating in the air a little bit. It's
And I kind of like look over at Asari. I'm like, I don't know why you don't want any of this. After your stressful evening, hi, Mr. Clumpy. After your stressful evening, I think it might be just what the doctor ordered.
I didn't order that.
It's
I
a
don't-
figure of speech, doc.
Yeah, I think it was more of a figure of speech.
Like the ducks in a row?
Yes, like the ducks
actually.
that are in a row.
Precisely that.
How did that end up for us last time? You should be more literal.
Sorry.
I had
Asaria, I think it might be the ticket. I mean, it might be. I think it might do you good to have some absinthe.
I've considered it, but
what vexes you, girl? What vexes you that your friends tell you you should drink to push away that which troubles you?
and you see Asaria looking, even though she's still pretty tired, because high 2 levels of exhaustion still. She looks a little deer in the headlights, a little bit alarmed, because this is like the first test of can her friends keep their mouths shut.
Immediately no.
Immediately no.
Immediately no. I've seen all I need to see. Immediately no.
Yeah, immediately the warning of you can't say, like, tell anybody this is flashing in her head, and she's immediately like, no, I've already had an intriguing evening. And I know if I have more of that or have that period, I'm gonna feel even worse. So not right now. But thank you. And life, and she'll turn to Auntie. Life vexes me. That's all that it is. And she's just kind of steely eyes Teera to shut it.
Across the room, in the easy chair next to the fire, the green dragonborn anti-hero continues to knit. Across from you, Mizya, where you took a seat, also next to the fire, but in an easy chair. You know, you're probably sitting about 3-4 feet away. And anti-hero just sort of looks over her spectacles, not looking at what she's knitting, and is looking right at you, Mizya, but says, Antinocturne, Antipotentia. It is clear the girl does not wish to talk about such things. She will tell us when and if she is ready.
Etheria will just have a very big swig of water.
Anti-Nocturne looks at you, Teera. You were asking about a place to sleep.
Yeah. Yes, please. I think we're gonna be needing that at some point tonight.
Perhaps you will need it sooner.
Maybe.
No worries. Not to worry. This is a safe place. Rest. You all look weary from your travels today. I promise you, tonight you will sleep comfortably and uninterrupted. And she looks right at you, Assyria. Come with me. And she steps up from the table and walks over to a corner of this little kitchen area where you're seating, and there's that, if you remember, right next to that, there's like this big clawfoot bathtub. Mm-hmm. Everybody make me a perception check. But Teera, you will do so at disadvantage.
God, that ought to be good. Okay. 8.
Yeah, you don't notice.
12.
Anybody get
18.
12 or higher?
I
18.
got
Ooh.
a 20, but I have to roll at disadvantage, so it's a 6.
Oh, because of your exhaustion.
Yeah. It
let me-
was a 20.
Let me check.
Too bad.
Yeah, these dice are working just like they would for Ricky. I rolled a 10 on his perception. So Mizya and Doc, you notice that where Auntie Nocturne is leading Teera, you know for a fact, when you came into this room, into this place, there was a shelf full of various specimens of different animals and jars and whatnot. But it's not there now. Instead, what's there is one of those beaded curtains.
Oh, God.
And she steps over and just sort of moves it aside. And there's a whole other room on the other side with exactly 5 beds.
I look up from my book and notice this, and then look right back down. Keep reading.
Auntie Nocturne, the red dragonborn, sort of hunched over, walking with a walking stick, comes over towards you, Doc. Am I to understand that you don't sleep?
Is that what you understand?
Do you sleep, young man?
I do not.
I do not.
Is this by your choice?
Choice. I can't answer that. It just seems like a waste of time, so I don't do it.
Would you like to sleep?
From the other room, you hear Teera go, I cannot recommend it highly enough, Doc. Sleep is very good.
No, it's okay.
Are you certain that you don't wish to sleep? In a bed? In a room with your friends? I will not do so without your permission, but I can grant you a night of sleep.
I haven't needed one before. Why would I need one now?
Fair enough. If you change your mind, I will be here.
Me too. Not sleeping. But thank you. I don't know if it was a kind offer, because it seems like something I wouldn't want to do. But, you know.
It was intended as a kind offer.
Okay. And then he is going to reach into his pocket, and he's gonna give her a flower and say thank you.
Oh my
Oh.
God. Oh, Oh,
She turns her head almost sideways to look all the way up at you, and then reaches out with her clawed hand and takes the flower. Thank you.
You're welcome. I hope you enjoy it.
Yes, I would and do enjoy it. At any time, if you wish, you may retire to the bedroom. Choose whatever bed suits you. We should like to speak with you in the morning.
Me or everyone?
All of you.
Oh. Okay.
But by no means must you go to bed. We are not your mothers, after all.
He is going to look down at his hands. He's going to look down at her hands, and he's going to say, "No, I think it's probably unlikely, but I can't say for sure."
oh my god.
She just reaches out and sort of gently sort of like grips your wrist just in that way of like, oh dear. He sort of gives it a pat and just turns and goes over and takes a seat in one of the easy chairs. Actually in the one next to you, Mizya. As she settles in and she pulls out a rolled up piece of parchment.
Wow. Say that 5 times fast.
Yeah. On which you can see, Mizya, on this piece of parchment, there are a bunch of squares and a bunch of numbers as she picks up a quill and starts putting numbers into the different squares. Yeah, she's doing
Oh my god.
Sudoku?
Sudoku.
I don't know. It's math and numbers. I don't get
Doing Ken. Those are more fun.
it. What?
Said she's doing Ken. Those are more fun. Screw Sudoku.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
It's a math game. Don't worry about it. It's like Sudoku, but better.
All right, well, it was already getting on till evening. By now, the sun is set. You have a bedroom available to you. Also, the 3 dragon aunties are just hanging out in this main room. You are free to do what you wish. Go to bed, ask questions, whatever you want to do.
I'm asleep.
It is a very quick that you fall to sleep, and you will not have any problems falling asleep. It is a very comfortable bed. I have to believe that Vorn was also drinking.
Yeah.
Let me make a quick con save for Vorn. Oh dear. Roll the 3. But with this modifier, that's still only a 7. Vorn, when you finally stumble your way in, Teera, you see that Vorn is already in there and is out on one of the beds, fully dressed. His goggles askew. Maybe like one boot is off.
That's amazing.
What about?
I kind of chuckle lightweight under my breath and go to sleep.
Mizya, what are you doing?
I think after the other 3, Asaria, are you in bed too, or are you
He
still
hasn't
out
headed
with
to
us?
bed yet.
Not yet. So, as
Still out.
Teera and Vorn kind of stumble off, I think I closed the book, and I'll look up at the. It was Anti-Nocturne that sat down next to me.
Yes, Nocturne is next to you, and Anti-Hero is across from you.
I just kind of reach over and I will just kind of pat the arm on the chair where Anti-Nocturne is sitting. Yes, it's nice to see you again. It's been many, many years, though. I can't quite recall how many. But always nice to see
The last time we saw you, Mizya, was nearly 200 years ago.
Oh my god.
My, time does pass so fast, doesn't it? There's, I wasn't getting out much then. I'm trying to recall where exactly. Were you at the library? I don't recall. At most likely, it would have been where I was at the time, but
It was at Silver Moon.
yes.
We were there for a time. You'll forgive us if your memory is a bit fuzzy. People tend to forget us in explicit detail when they leave.
Yes, well, I've forgotten many, many things over the time. I was also at Silver Moon for a time, and then another time, and a time on top of that.
You
So
were at
many
Silver
years.
Moon for a long time, as I recall.
Indeed. It's
You
looking
are-
back, I see so much that I just didn't know. You read about these things in books, and you think you know them, and then you get out into the real world and you see them for real, and there's so much different.
There is no education like personal first-hand experience. This is true. You are a long way from Silvery Moon. Many, many miles.
Yes, well, it seems after spending so many years there, I exhausted what I could reasonably learn. So I set out for Candlekeep to see what I could learn there. And well, I seem to not be learning very much from the books. I have found myself caught up in the adventures of this motley crew.
Teera's loudly snoring in the other room. On cue.
Well, um, I said that was Anti-Nocturne. It's actually, sorry, it's Anti-Portentia's the Red Dragonborn that's been talking to you. I got confused. I'm like, wait, that was not her talking. No, Anti-Nocturne is the Black Dragonborn who was serving the absinthe. Anti-Portentia is the one talking to you. And she says to you, Mizya, after you say that, they are lucky to have you. These individuals you have found yourself with.
I don't think they know it yet, but I would tend to agree.
And I don't think you know it yet, but you are lucky to have them.
And I kind of scrunch my face up when I look, like, and I kind of just don't really even acknowledge.
Mizya, stay close to your friends and keep them close to you. As you continue on your education in the field, as it were, you will learn quite a bit about yourself and your friends and the world around you. And, mark my words, you will find yourself at Silvery Moon again. They will need you.
Need me. And I just kind of look around. Well, if you stay so, Auntie, I don't know anyone would meet with me. Anyways, I must be getting off. And I kind of like hurriedly stand up from the chair and I will shuffle off into the other room. And I will just find a spot I'll pick one of the empty beds and I will just kind of sit in the center of it and go off into my meditation trance.
Doc, are you staying in the main room or do you go into the bedroom to stand? You're muted.
Stand creepily and not sleep.
I'm gonna stand creepily
Okay, Edward Cullen.
in the main room.
Very well.
Did he standing right outside that beaded curtain door? Just as Mizya comes walking by, he reacts 0.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
For a
checking
second,
something.
I thought he was frozen. I was concerned.
Nope,
Yeah.
sorry.
You're just deep in thought. Jesus Christ, Gary.
Let's see. Doc.
Feel attacked.
Okay. All right. So Doc, you stand as you usually do in the main room while the others are sleeping. You can no doubt hear Teera and Vorn. They seem to be vying for loudest snorer in the other room.
Competitive, even in sleep.
The 3 dragon aunties are all sitting in the easy chairs. And they begin conversing very quietly amongst themselves. But you are unable to, at least I believe you only speak
Giant in common.
We did it. We won Dungeons and Dragons.
Actually, interesting. They lean in and you catch sight of Auntie Nocturne as she settles into an easy chair. She glances over at you, turns to the others, and at first you hear a very thick, deep, accented language. And it takes you a moment to realize that they are speaking giant. Would you listen in?
Their speech.
Yeah, I'm there, so
Okay. They are speaking quietly, but not so quietly that you can't hear them. As Auntie Nocturne leans in and says, I think they will be able to help us. I am hopeful that they will do so willingly. Anti-hero says, we must be careful not to antagonize. Make sure they understand that our intentions are pure. Anti-Pretentia. Perhaps pure is not the best word to use, but we mean them no harm. They've shown no indication that they mean us any harm. And we've always liked Mizya. Yes. But I worry about what you have told us of Mizya's potential. She is only just now beginning to realize it. She can be a very powerful ally. They can be a very powerful ally. But they can be a very powerful enemy if we are not careful. What of the wolf? What of her? She is only just beginning her journey. We must keep an eye on her. Oh, we would keep all our eyes on all of them. I think if they all continue to rely upon one another, they will balance one another out. And if she can't handle the transformations, perhaps their friends will intercede. Take care of the problem. And if not, we will keep our eyes on them. Their conversation begins to move away as they begin having more lighthearted talk. They do mention something about the beasts outside, that it was fortunate that you all came when you did, or you may have had to deal with the creatures, and that perhaps you wouldn't have as many, they wouldn't have as many guests tonight if you had.
Oh, God.
But eventually, their conversation drifts off, and Doc, you begin to hear 3 dragonborn aunties lightly snoring in their easy chairs where they have drifted off to sleep. Teera.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not emotionally prepared for anything. Sorry, what?
You find yourself sitting in front of a campfire. There's a light snow on the ground. The campfire is keeping you warm. You have your meager cloak and the clothes that you've had on your back draped across you. You see near you where the bedroll for your brother is empty, him having gone into the wood line to pee. You hear, after a few moments, you hear Torin cry out.
I grab my sword and I run to where I heard it. As fast as I can.
How old were you at this point?
12-ish.
And Torin is...
Torin is 6.
You take off running the direction of the sound you heard. Make a perception check.
Can I make it with advantage, please? I would like to use a tome. I would love a scoreboard, Gary, because I feel like you and I might be close. God almighty. Perception is a 13 is all.
Okay, that's good. Let me adjust this real quick.
All in good fun. Gary and I love each other. We promise.
You take off running in the direction, and you get to a point where you were pretty sure that that's where Torin should have been. And you can see where his footprints are. Like I said, there's a little bit of snow there. You see the footprints, and you can see in the snow the telltale signs. That's where he went to relieve himself. But then you
T-O-R-I. Sorry. I apologize. Levity.
You see, though, that footsteps lead away further into the woods. You note from the position of the footsteps, and what's weird here is physically you are Teera, 12 years old, but your senses and your mind are those of your current self. You're analyzing it like a hunter. You're seeing things like a tracker. And you see that Torin's footsteps are placed different, closer together, lighter, like he's tracking something.
Okay. Like he's tracking something. So I would not call out, actually. When he cried out, when I thought I heard him cry out, was it like...
It was a quick, like a, huh? And then you didn't hear anything after that.
What was
Okay.
that again?
Shut up. Huh? It was like, what's the thing in Metal Gear Solid? What was that noise? I thinking that maybe he is like tracking something like an animal. I don't call out for him. I just follow his tracks and I try to stay quiet myself.
All right, make a survival check.
Okay. Jeez. 12.
You're moving along and you see where he's moving from tree to tree. You can see his footsteps where he hasn't shifted his feet at all, but he's just paused at a tree. Then he moves on in a slightly different direction.
Okay. Because I'm getting a little concerned at this point, I am following him, but like very quietly, I'm going, Torin! Oi! Psst! And like just like really listening, and I imagine the snow is kind of dampening the sounds, and it's like that almost eerily quiet. Am I fair to say that?
Yeah.
It is like that, almost strangely quiet, as I continue to follow his little tracks.
You follow along a little further. You see where they cut behind a larger tree. As you step to follow, there's a sudden flurry of wings as a raven flies out from a branch and right past your face. Just that sudden...
Yeah.
In that same instant, as you turn to look at this, from just on the other side of the tree, you hear a yelp of pain.
Oh, shit. I run towards that fast.
You come around the side of the tree, and you see where the footprints lead to a large fallen log.
Okay.
And you can just see spilling over the edge of the log, as if he just jumped over there. You see the blue of his cloak, and spilling out across the snow from the edge of it, you see a pool of blood.
Oh, God. I like hurdle the log. I like vault it and like look for him. Like,
You jump over the log, and you see Torin slumped against the log, blood splattering his front. He's breathing deeply, looking down at where he has driven the axe that he carries, the small, what would for a normal person be a hand axe. But he has driven it into the side of the neck of a wolf. Torin is breathing and panting heavily, as the wolf is also breathing and panting heavily, not quite yet dead.
Oh my God. And I I grab the wolf by the scruff and I like throw it back away from Torin. I just throw it into the clearing, kind of. And I figure if it's dying, it's gonna be dead soon, and that's not my concern. And I'm like crouching over Torin, and I'm just like, "Are you okay, Torin? Are you okay?" And I like tilt his chin up, and I'm like looking for like wounds all over him.
I thought she thought she needed help.
And I put my hand on his chest, and I'm just like, "Are you hurt? Are you hurt anywhere?"
No, I don't think so.
Okay, I'm like, "Stay here. I'll be right back. Stay here. Don't move." And Teera, you said, kind of is of like her adult mind.
Yeah,
right?
it's your physical appearance is like almost memory of
Okay.
yourself at that age, but you have your current knowledge.
Okay. And so I like turn over my shoulder and I look at this wolf.
There's no wolf
And-
there.
Oh shit.
You see a woman lying naked, face down in the snow, bleeding out.
God. Oh my god. I recognize the woman?
She's face down in the snow.
Okay. I kind of like crunch up my eyes a little bit and I'm like, Torin, go back to camp. Torin, go back to camp right now.
Torin stands up. And all of a sudden, he just looks past you.
Oh. And I immediately like stand up and I like kind of I take like the back of his head and I sort of like bury it like in my chest and I'm like, Torin, you have to turn around. Don't look at that. You need to go back to camp.
No. They're everywhere. The camera begins to pan around you.
God.
And you see, stepping out from behind trees, first one, then three, and half a dozen wolves. As you turn around and look back to where the woman lies naked, face down in the snow, you see another wolf step out. You recognize this wolf.
Oh no.
This is Soren.
Oh wow. At this point I turn and I just kind of like, Torin is stubborn. He's gonna go where he wants to go. I turn around and I start walking towards Soren. And I kind of have my hand out. And I just kind of like, Soren? Is that you, boy?
Soren lowers his head and you can see his eyes, each a different color, almost glowing. And you see his lips curl back and his teeth
Soren.
bare.
God. And I look, now that I see Soren, I kind of look past him. Oh, man. Does the woman laying in the snow look slightly more familiar now? Hair color, body size, body type? anything
Similar,
like
but you really can't tell
Jenny.
looking at her face down.
And I look at Soren and I'm like, oi, back up, wolf.
The wolf
Back up.
doesn't
And
move.
I like try to like startle him. I try to
All right,
like
make an
scare him away.
intimidation. Make an intimidation check.
Okay. Oh, that's a 19.
Soren actually lowers his tail and lowers his ears, and then they perk up and his head raises and he stops snarling at you. And he sort
Better.
of backs a few paces back.
Tira's knees are shaking. And she goes towards the body and kind of is almost nervous to turn her over. But takes a second, takes a deep breath, and is like, and then reaches down and kind of pulls the woman's arm up to flip her onto her back.
You flip her over. You don't recognize this woman. But you do recognize the symbol that is on her chest. It's the same scar symbol that Assyria showed you.
I look over at Soren. Is he still there?
Soren is there, and there is another wolf rising up just over the little hill behind Soren, larger than Soren, with silvery white fur that stands next to Soren.
Wow.
Behind you, you hear Torin. She said she needed help. And then she turned into that. One of them. But I had my axe with me, like you taught me.
You did good, Torin.
Is she dead? You
This
can
woman
see
looks
she's not
dead.
breathing anymore.
Okay. Oh God. I kind of like turn over my shoulder and I'm like, yeah, Torn she is, and I just then
Good.
start walking.
We have to kill them all. Before they kill us. Teera. We have to kill them all. Before they kill us. And you wake up.
And Tira's eyes, she doesn't like sit up like sometimes, but her eyes just kind of like, and she like wakes up all of a sudden and sort of like looks around frantically for a sec, doesn't really remember where she is. And Mr. Clumpy is sitting on her chest out of nowhere, and it's just like she just sort of like shakes her head and like kind of pets him and is like, oh God, and like lays there and obviously not super well rested.
It is morning. The rest of you begin waking up. Assyria, you find that one more level of exhaustion has cleared away from you. I believe that still leaves you with another level.
One more.
Teera, you do have that little bit of restlessness, but you did get a full long rest.
Nice.
Doc,
Like,
the rest
look
of...
around and make sure everybody's okay. Is everybody still fine and where they
Yeah,
fell asleep?
as far as you can tell, everybody's where they were.
Good.
Doc, you did not see anything out of the ordinary or hear anything out of the ordinary all night. Mizya, whether you chose to sleep or just do your normal 4 hours trance.
Yeah, I think I would have moved back into one of those chairs, and am now back in my scribbling away in Gerald at this point.
So I imagine at this point, you and the 3 dragon aunties have had tea. You were probably able to explain to one of them, to Auntie Nocturne, what a mimosa is.
I like to think that's what everybody hears as they wake up is Mizya giggling with these dragonborn.
Amazing.
I
talking
used to...
about mimosas.
One of the memories I have is no matter how early I woke up when we were staying with my grandma, no matter how early we woke up, grandma was already awake.
Mm-hmm.
She was in the kitchen drinking a cup of coffee and smoking a cigarette.
Awesome.
And that's what those of you that are waking up is you smell pipe tobacco, which is antipotentia. Is the one that likes to smoke the pipe. And you do hear Mizya giggling, their laughter sort of carrying in from the other room as Mizya and the 3 dragon aunties are carrying on like old friends, catching up or just having a laugh together. I think it's a little bit early, but I think that's a great place to take a break before we kick off the next day.
Great.
Yeah. So we will go ahead and we'll take a 10-minute break. Thank you, everybody who's tuned in so far. Please stick around. We will... let me check something real quick, because I might have... Nope, I didn't. Never mind. I was just checking to see, make sure I didn't miss any resubs or anything. All right. We'll see you in 10 minutes. And we're back. And before we get back into the adventure, I have something that I would like to tell you about. Thank you, Jordan, for bringing this to my attention. If you're watching the stream right now, the first thing that you need to do is go to @TTRPGifs. I can't make myself say TTRP GIFs because I know that's what you want me to say, Ropo, and I'm not going to do it. TTRP GIFs. The Twitter link, thanks to Jordan, is in there. Go there and follow them. And then be sure to mark your calendars for this Saturday, October 9th, starting at 11 a.m. Pacific and running through 7:30 p.m. Pacific on twitch.tv/TTRPGifts. It is, all Latins, a Hispanic Heritage Month TTRPG celebration that Robo is putting on. This is an incredible lineup, folks. You can head over to the TTRP Gifts Twitter. They're going to be playing Kids on Brooms at 11 a.m. Pacific. It looks like they're going to play... this is in Spanish, and I don't speak Spanish. So I don't want to butcher this attempting to say what it is, but there's another Spanish game happening at 2 p.m. Pacific, and then rounding the day out with some D&D 5e, a D&D one shot by that D'Angelo. And it looks like an incredible lineup of players and GMs. And all of this is to benefit Raíces, Texas. Did I say that right? The largest immigration legal services nonprofit in Texas, focusing on underserved immigrant children, families, and refugees. Do check it out. TTRP Gifts. RoboGoblin is a treasure in the community, and is doing amazing things, and already looks like it's just put together an incredible lineup for a great cause. So please do check that out and donate if you can to help with that. All right, with that, let's get back into it. It is the next morning. Mizya is already a little tipsy, enjoying some mimosas with the Aunties. And there is basically a really surprisingly fancy charcuterie board been put out on the table waiting for you. There's plenty of cured meats, a variety of cheeses. There's some fresh fruit, nuts, just all kinds of stuff that's laid out there. There is some mimosas, but there's also coffee and tea as well. All of which Doc disgustedly watched them prepare the whole time. But yeah, you sort of groggily all emerge from the back room, the rest of you, to find what looks like it looks like a Saturday morning before Thanksgiving. The family's just starting to arrive, and people are getting along, and nobody started fighting yet. So
Yay, that's a good time. Teera actually doesn't look terribly groggy. She just kind of comes out and grabs herself a cup of coffee, kind of just eats like a piece of cheese and a piece of meat, and just doesn't really say much to anybody, and just she sits somewhere and starts sharpening her sword, and is not really talking much. She has her cup of coffee sitting off to the side and takes a sip every so often. Just seems pretty focused.
As per usual, Asteria is the last to get up. She actually, before her eyes kind of open up, smelling the pipe, she gets a flash of memory of her father smoking a pipe as he's probably reading over some reports before starting the day. Before she opens her eyes and looks at the ceiling above, and a very energetic Soren next to her. She's still very tired. Yeah, no, stop it. She will get up and make her way into the living area, kind of picking a spot in the corner. She's just keeping a wary eye. She is not, I will say, this entire time she has not let her guard down fully. Last night she slept with her sword at her side and her hand on her dagger, kind of just ready to go.
Good. That'll
not-
improve sentiment.
Yeah. Just not necessarily because of the group. It's more so our lovely hosts, because they know a lot about our group, but we don't know anything about them, and that bothers her. So she's just a little bit weary. But she'll just kind of zombie over to the table and take a seat in the corner.
What about you, Doc?
Doc is going to be observing all of this. And he's going to, when there's a lull in the conversation, he is going to say, so, why did you bring us here?
What makes you think that we brought you here?
What makes you think that I think you brought us here?
Truly, you have a dizzying intellect.
Yes, that's true.
You came here of your own accord. We gave you refuge for the night. We brought you here for your safety.
And
That is the answer to your question, young man.
yes, I agree. It is the answer to my question. But as I noted by saying, and it isn't the whole answer to my question. I was hoping you might give us the whole answer as opposed to just the answer you want us to know right now. I think it would save everyone time if you gave us a whole answer and then everybody knows everything and it just is easier for everyone.
Make me an insight check real quick.
For just like a half a second, you hear Teera go and like stop, and like her head slowly turns over.
Sarah's got her drink like halfway, like.
I'm going to use a domain tome. Gonna go 1-for-1 with Cari tonight.
Thank you.
Yep. I don't want you to feel bad that you're using the wrong.
I so appreciate the consideration. Thank you.
All right, so I'm gonna re-roll.
Instead of 1-for-1, you're gonna go 4-to-1.
1-for-1, 4-for-1. Potato.
I really can't wait for when we actually need these.
We
and they're not there.
need resubs, and we need you to donate at ko-fi.com. Coffee, I mean.
All right, well, I got a 10. Which is better than the 4 and the 0 I got.
Oh, brutal.
All right, well,
You look really different this week. I don't know
So-
what it is.
Yeah.
right. So, as you're saying this, Auntie Nocturne looks at you, Doc, and says, "What is it you are expecting?"
Doc is going to reply in giant, the truth.
Which is interesting because what you failed to realize immediately, the rest of you hear Auntie Nocturne turn to Doc and say, "Kirtiokterion." She was speaking in giant.
I speak giant too.
Oh,
I'm like,
so you hear her saying what she said, and then
Yeah.
Doc replies in giant. You are clever. She's speaking back in common. You like to keep secrets to yourself as well. That is good. Everybody should have at least 1 or 2 secrets that they keep for themselves.
He's gonna glance at Teera, and he's gonna glance over at Asaria. He's gonna glance down at Mizya. He's gonna say, "Yup."
Daria will, from the corner as she's drinking, also give the elvish equivalent of the middle finger as she's sipping her.
amazing. I imagine it's just a thumbs up.
Let me check.
I just tip
You
my
bite your thumb at me,
mimosa.
sir.
Do not bite my thumb at you, but I do bite my thumbs.
When you give the the elvish middle finger, you see anti-hero the Green Dragonborn just goes and she clearly recognizes this, and then Anti-Nocturne says, "You mistake our intentions, Doc. We did not bring you here for a task. However, as you no doubt have overheard us speaking, we planned to take advantage of your presence to request something from you. It does not require you to do anything you weren't already going to do, but simply to keep an eye out in your travels for something we are missing."
Uh-huh.
"You have come to which way? Yes? You specifically were looking for this place, yes?"
Why are you asking me rhetorical questions? Please continue.
I am not asking you, I am confirming.
Yes.
She turns and looks over at the others, and she says in a different language, "Does anybody speak Infernal?"
I do.
Do you really?
Yeah. Abyssal, celestial, common, elvish, infernal,
Oh
primordial.
my god.
Good lord.
Half elf.
Intelligence.
Not that high. Half elf.
You see her turn, and just really quickly in Infernal, the rest of you just hear this sort of, it sounds like hissing and clicking. It almost sounds like logs crackling in a fire, with a subtle undertone of screams of torment. As she says something that you hear, Assyria, is, "I don't care how big he is. I will bend him over my knee and give him a proper spanking."
I think at that, Assyria was actually drinking her drink, and it just comes out as she starts laughing. I'm so sorry.
She looks at you and just raises an eyebrow. You are traveling to a place that I doubt even you know the name.
It's probably true.
Where are you going?
I was following Teera.
We were going to which way? Here. What do you mean?
Because it's the starting point, yes?
Yes. Yes.
To a location you don't even know the name of.
Yeah.
We know the location that you are heading.
Well, where is it?
As you mentioned last night, you seem to know a lot about us.
We've been watching you.
Uh-huh.
But you know things that weren't just from watching us, like hiding in the bushes.
Right.
We weren't hiding in the bushes.
I know you weren't. That's why I'm asking. How do you know? How do you know stuff about us that you don't have any right to know?
Mizya, make a insight check. We have our ways.
How do we know we can trust you?
You don't.
Right.
How do we know we can trust you?
You don't. And Teera, like, at this point is finished with her sword and kind of like goes shink and like sticks it on her back, like with kind of like an extra like huh, so it really clicks into place. And then just sort of sits there with her arms crossed.
I find it so very interesting that we put you up in our home, we gave you a warm place to sleep, food, drink, and comfort, and all of a sudden morning comes and you greet us with hostility. Why is that?
Yes. These aunties, you have to understand this. We've been through quite a lot, and please don't hold it against my friends. But we mean no ill intent. And I turn to the group. Please, they mean us no ill will.
They may not mean us ill will, but the impact of it is yet to be seen.
I have known of the aunties for many, many years, and I have met them many times as well. I trust them as much as I can trust really anyone. I don't think we are in any danger. Please let us
Teera
hear them out.
uncrosses her arms and sort of opens her body language a little bit.
Teera's still very closed off, but
You have to understand. It can be dangerous for us to put our trust into strangers. If it weren't for Mizya traveling with you, we might never have given you a second look. But because we recognized them, we chose to continue scrying upon you, to see what you are made of. You are all made of much sturdier stuff than I believe even you know. And you'll have to be. You are going to face things much more difficult than ducks and boars. You are going to face things much more dangerous than wolves. If you stick together, you should be fine. This is why we invited you in. And now, what we will ask of you is to simply retrieve something that belongs to us, that was stolen from us. We do not believe the intention was to steal it, but nonetheless, what belongs to us is no longer in our possession. Where you are going, you We'll find other things that belong to others. Some of them may be dangerous. We just ask you to look for a figure. It is a jade figurine, carved in the likeness of a tortoise.
What's so special about it? I mean, we could stop at any big city along the way and get you another jade tortoise made. It wouldn't be cheap, but what makes this one so special?
This jade tortoise was created over 1,000 years ago. You bring it to us. We'll show you what's so special about it. It has to be seen to believe.
I think we can do that. Tell us where it is and where we have to go next. I kind of like look around at the others for like confirmation.
Mysteria will nod.
Do you have the map with you?
Yeah. I don't remember who has the book. Who has the book?
I think
I
you
might.
do.
You
think I
have the
do too.
book. Yep, you
So
have it.
I pull out the book and then I pull the little map out of the book and I hand the current auntie the map. I don't remember which one's talking. I think it's Portentia, but I'm not sure.
Portentia's been doing most of the talking.
Great. I hand it to her.
The deeper voiced one is
Nocturne.
Nocturne, and then the higher pitched one is
The
Hero.
adorable Sophia one is anti-hero. Got it.
Oh,
Nocturne
man.
is clearly B. Arthur. Portentia is who's the southern one?
Rue McClanahan, which is
yes.
which is I can't remember her name.
Blanche.
What? Blanche.
Yes,
yeah.
Blanche. It's good remembering.
Hold on.
I think you should give Gary an inspiration for remembering
mhm.
Blanche. That's just what I think.
Hold on. OBS updated. Oh, there it is. OBS updated, and now the assets that I don't have selected are like really grayed out, and I have them color coded to gray, so I can't read what they say.
God,
no.
it's indecipherable.
So I'm gonna have to change that. So they produce. You produce the map that you show to Aunt Portentia.
Mm-hmm.
And she sort of traces her hand along the route and says, "You are here. And which way?
Awesome.
You will follow the path to the southwest, mostly west, to the Hand and Horn. These are rock formations. You will recognize them when you see them. You may have to exercise caution, as the Hand is home to a brood of harpies.
Mm.
You will travel through the unnamed forest. Any number of dangers can meet you there, depending on the time of day at which you are traveling. When you arrive at the old wooden bridge, be prepared for it to be guarded.
By what? Doc, what is your question?
If the unnamed forest is called the unnamed
I
forest,
knew this was coming.
is it really an unnamed forest?
She
Somewhere
shakes her head
a
at you.
Somewhere a robot explodes.
She shakes her head at you and continues. She just gives you one of those long looks, shaking her head, and then goes, "You will continue from the wooden bridge to the Scorch of the Red Worm. This is a minor caldera in a hot springs field. At one time, this was home to a great red dragon. But no dragons have been seen in that area for at least a century. West, past there, you will find your goal, at least according to this map. It is a place known as Chalet Brantifax.
What, you seem to know what we can expect at every leg of this journey. What can we expect at Chalet Brantifax?
There is an organization that operates as a kindness. They are known as the Scarlet Sash. They are identified by a scarlet sash. Well, I mean, that's what they call themselves. How they identify themselves amongst one another.
Very creative bunch, eh?
But they are not the original owners of the chalet. It once belonged to a wealthy noble named Baron Brantifax. He chose the location for its seclusion and its scenic beauty. You see, Baron Brantifax had 2 daughters. But one of his daughters, well, let's say that Baron Brantifax was not as kind as he thought he was. And it was a different time. He sought seclusion for his daughter because of her illness. Rather than let her know her value amongst a caring society, and in places using the great wealth he had at his disposal, he could have gotten care for his daughter in such a way that they would not have had to hide away. But, well, he chose to seclude his family away.
Yeah, what kind of care are you talking about?
If we had been around at the time, we would have counseled different. Brantifax's daughter was born with legs that were too thin and frail to support her body. Her arms were thin, her form, her spine curved. There is a word that he used, and in that time they used, that we do not use. The girl was no doubt a beautiful creature, but he chose to hide her away. He thought it best, in order to keep her away from the cruel names and stares of people. Perhaps he was more cool in hiding her away. Nonetheless, the daughters, Elotha and Selphine, they were barely 6 and 12 when they died. through manners we don't fully understand and that do require a bit of investigation. We believe that there is, where the child is buried, an access point into the Shadowfell.
Oh.
We believe that the kindness,
Oh.
the red sash, the scarlet sash, that they are guarding this gateway into the Shadowfell. And for that, we can find no fault with them. But unfortunately, most of the scarlet sash have sticky fingers, and they take that which does not belong to them, as such has happened with our jade tortoise statue. In the name of protecting the realm from evil, I assure you, our statue is not evil. But who knows what else they have taken in the name of protection. Since it is clear you are headed this direction, and you will find yourself there at the chalet, we do ask that you keep your eye out for our tortoise statue. Will you do this?
Does anyone else feel this has gotten a bit complicated for, well, hunting down books?
I look.
I just kind of wave at the map, and I'm like, worms and hoppies.
I look at Mizya and I say, "Well, Mizya, no offense intended, but that's why they hired people like us, and not only people like you. Thin, toothpick people that could be snapped in half. Valuable in your own way."
I see.
Jake,
And I kind of like huff off to the corner.
Oh,
I'm sorry. Oh God, I have a question for the DM. Why did we come to which way again? I forgot.
The book brought us here.
Because of this map.
Yeah,
Because of this
the
map.
You
yeah.
knew that you
Way
were
to
headed to the location. You did not know until now that it was the Chalet Brantifax or what it was.
Yeah.
Okay.
You
understand.
only know that this map was found in this old book and that you were given...
We had to start at the which way, but we weren't sure which way to go after that.
Right, you had to
Right.
find which
After
way
which
to
way.
even begin following this map.
Right.
By meeting...
But we're looking for a book, right?
No, you're investigating this
we're
We're
map.
investigating the book.
We're
Yeah.
just investigating
Okay,
the
we
map.
found the
we
book.
have the
and
book.
Yeah, the book had the map,
It's so
which the
odd
map is, yeah.
for a library.
To lose a book consistently?
Again and again.
Right.
Hey, Mizya, they're not wrong. Especially a library like Candlekeep that takes such good care of their books. I can't believe one keeps escaping. I can't believe a book escaped.
Well, a book did turn into a monster.
That's a good point, Doc. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Well, I'm down for an adventure to Chalet Telefax or whatever it's called.
Okay. I mean, it's good that we know the name of it, but I mean, it told us where to go on the map, so you know, now we know what the name is, so that's something, I guess.
I lean
my-
to Voren and I'm like, Doc is being sassy as hell. And then I look at the Aunties and then I kind of look a little angrily at Doc and I'm like, Doc, we also know certain obstacles all along the way, thanks to the fine Aunties here. They
Right.
told us to be aware at the bridge and to watch out for stuff in the woods and harpies at the rocks. All that's good stuff to know.
Uh-huh.
as well as some history about this place. It's got something to do with the Shadowfell. Well,
Oh.
that'd be good.
Uh-huh.
Doc,
What?
Doc, you don't seem very impressed and you're being rude. Quit it.
what do we have to tell you, Doc? To gain your trust and ease your mind.
My mind is easy as they come.
I doubt that.
You're being weird.
You've been weird the last couple of days.
No, I think I'm being normal. This is how I usually am. But it's
No,
fine.
not.
We'll go to Chalet Brantifax and go through the Rock in Hand and the unnamed forest that's named the unnamed forest. And then we'll go across the bridge. And then we'll go to the Caldera of the Red Worm, where there's no dragon anymore. And then we'll travel west from the Caldera of the Worm to Chalet Brantifax. And then we'll talk to the Scarlet Sash. And then we'll look for the gateway to the Shadowfell. And then we'll maybe find your green tortoise and possibly return it.
I want to insight check Doc. He's
Yeah.
being kind of bitchy.
Yeah,
Here I go.
I would like to assist on this as well, because this is.
I think you should make your own insight check.
Yeah,
a separate
I'm gonna.
one. I got a 9.
I still have disadvantage, but let's see. Not bad. Okay. Insight. I rolled at disadvantage. I got an 18
Jesus.
plus 2, so dirty 20.
Wow.
Okay. What do you want to know?
So, for Assyria, ever since the mark where Doc recoiled, Doc has been acting particularly odd and especially sassy the last day.
Especially sassy.
Uh-huh.
So she's just trying to read anything she can from him right now. Like, is he trying to deflect? Is he trying to put on this extra show of literally he's being very open about some things and direct and then misdirecting conversations about other things, and she's picking up on that.
Doc is particularly annoyed that they have read the map when he feels everybody already knew where they had to go.
I gather Doctor is not the one who needs convincing. I don't see. Fawn, you haven't said much today.
He's so very quiet.
Vorn is sitting at the table, looks up where he's been taking these little crackers and he's been stacking cured ham and bacon and trying to get each piece of meat with a different piece of cheese through it. At this point, it's about 4 or 5 inches tall, and he's just carefully
Wow.
trying to get this stack, and he's just crammed this whole stack of crackers, cheese, and meat in his mouth, and he just goes, What?
Yes, I don't think we have to convince Fawn either. So, my objections to the whatever clearly not going to stop me from continuing. So, and I look at the Aunties. It looks as if we are all agreed.
I nod.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Very well. You are free to leave at your leisure. Your horses and your wagon are in the stables. I don't normally respond to chat like this, but because it's you, Doc, you hear over your shoulder a commotion as Mr. Clumpy, the Tressum, has been sitting on the edge of the table and is starting to do that thing cats do where they sort of look like they're gauging a jump.
Oh God.
Oh no.
But remember, it's a Tressum. It has wings.
Oh,
It suddenly leaps up towards Doc's head where Einstein Jr. is, and you just hear this.
oh, Jesus Christ! It's just.
And there's just a flapping of wings around your head, Doc, of both Einstein Jr. and Mr. Clumpy.
I would like to try and intercept Mr. Clumpy with my cat-like reflexes.
I hate it here. I hate it here.
It somehow feels dirty when you do it.
Yeah, I quit.
Yeah, let's go ahead and we'll do opposed dexterity.
Okay.
I so want Doc to just like fuck Mr. Miyagi, this cat.
Yep.
Let's see.
Okay. I got 15. Just a straight dex or
Yeah.
athletics or nothing.
Yeah, this is gonna be straight dex, I think.
Okay. 15.
16. I got a 14 on the die and a +2 dex for the Tressum.
So Doc is going to look at the Tressum, and as the Tressum flies toward him, he has a flash of recognition. All he sees as the Tressum is flying towards him, he's teleported to a different place. And all he sees in this different place is a veil of shadow and two bright silver wings flapping in the darkness. And I'm going to roll my knowledge from a past life ability.
Oh God!
And that will be 17.
Interesting. How do you grab this Tressum, Mr. Clumpy, out of the air?
Oh no.
He's going to grab it by the chest, and he's going to pull it down, and he's going to say, "Bad kitty."
That's scary.
Yeah.
It's not that scary. I don't know why it's so scary, but it really is.
Make an intimidation check.
19.
Mr. Clumpy goes completely limp
No.
as you're holding him
Oh.
by the neck. Just the way you can shut down a cat when you grab him by the scruff of the neck.
Yep.
Even the wings just go and fold. Mr. Clumpy is in complete submission. Is a phrase I never thought I would utter.
Hey.
He's going to
Welcome to
walk.
Scribes and Scrolls, the Candlekeep mysteries.
He's going to walk Mr. Clumpy over to the chair, and he's going to put him down, and he's going to say, "Now stay there." Ooh. And then he's going to lovingly pet Einstein Jr.
Mr. Clumpy does as you drop him into the chair, does just kind of a stare at you for a moment, and then just suddenly goes and turns in a circle and lays down as if that's what it wanted to do all along.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But
Typical.
Doc, you notice as Mr. Clumpy curls up and you begin to hear you see the eyes sort of close, but one eye is watching you.
Awesome.
As Mr. Clumpy is watching me, I'm going to be going like this to it.
Oh God.
And I'm
It
gonna
just stops.
And I'm going to tuck Einstein Jr. into my front pocket.
Yeah. He's so little and Doc is so big. Awesome. Amazing.
All right. Anything else before you leave?
I would like a quick private word with the aunties. And I kind of just want to Teera's sort of sheepishly. She makes sure all the others are out of the little thing, and she sort of sheepishly goes to them and is like, "I'm really sorry for being so suspicious earlier. I didn't sleep the greatest, and that was rude. You were very nice to us, and you fed us, and you gave us a place to sleep, but I'm sorry."
Teera, the Sandman, they call you. This is Anti-Hero.
Yeah, they used to.
Don't apologize for being who you are. You are right to be suspicious. We can be trusted. But not everybody can be trusted. Make them earn your trust. Don't give it to them. You are wise to be cautious.
Thank you. And then Teera just kind of nods and sort of turns to leave. And then walks out.
All right. Is everybody leaving? As you climb out, you exit what looks like just a normal door, heavy wooden door to a cabin or something like that. But as you step through it, you step into the warm, sunlit day where you can see the desolate town of Which Way around you. It's not uncomfortably hot.
It is for me.
For Mizya, maybe, but
Use the parasol.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it's for.
as
There you go.
That's adorable.
There you
Yes.
go, dear.
Yes.
as you are all heading out, Doc, do you go get the horses from the stable? I think you were the one that led them to the stable.
Yep.
When you get to the stable, Auntie Nocturne is there already.
Ooh.
Or not, sorry, not Nocturne. Portentia. She's there, just lighting her pipe up. This time in the daylight, but when the first time you saw her, you just see the striking across her own scales, and the air fills with a black cherry smoke.
Hello.
Your horses have been fed and watered. They're ready to go.
Thank you. That's very kind.
I have something for you, Doc.
Oh?
And she reaches into one of her inner pockets on her robes, and she pulls out a leather scroll case, very thin, probably about 8 inches long, and it's got where there's a piece of leather attached to this top piece, and it's attached again down to the bottom where the cap is. She just hands it to you.
Thank you. What is it?
It's a scroll case.
Yes. Is there a scroll inside?
Look inside.
He will take.
She rolls her eyes.
He will open the scroll case and he will look inside it.
Inside is a piece of parchment about not very big. It's about 5 by 7 inches. Looks like it was torn from a larger piece of parchment. And on this piece of parchment, drawn in wax crayons, is a child's drawing. And you recognize the style of this drawing. What you see is trees with they're just the brown sticks of trees, and then these sort of hastily drawn triangular shapes to indicate like a pine forest. And you see what looks like a human man wearing a long white coat, sort of a stick figure-y, but very much looking like you. And you're looking outward, and there's other figures, stick figures, but they're no detail to them, but that are drawn standing around you. And behind you, between the trees of the forest, you see little yellow circles with little black dots in them, showing many eyes peering out of the forest.
Where did you get this?
We came across it in our travels. We knew it was interesting. It has residual... Well, it's difficult to explain. It's not quite magic in the arcane sense, but a lingering sense of importance. And when I sense these things, I hold on to them. They usually tell me when they need to be presented. This one was practically singing your name when you arrived last night. I almost didn't give it to you. But it doesn't belong to me. It clearly belongs to you.
Thank you. And Doc is going to take out his magnifying lens, and he is going to look through the picture to see if he sees any hidden details that he might have otherwise missed.
Give me an investigation check.
Oh my god. Bamboo fibers. Fake ballots.
25.
You scan around looking at all of the different lines and the colors, and you can see where the texture through the magnifying glass of this rough parchment, and where the wax crayon didn't quite connect. And then you just keep scanning back and forth. You're just not seeing any kind of thing other than the drawing, and you almost miss it. And then you circle back to the forest, to the yellow eyes, and you realize that the tiny pupil of each one of these eyes is a rune in a language you don't recognize.
Doc will roll the scroll case up, or roll the scroll up inside the case, and he will tuck it inside the inner pocket of his bag. And he will speak to Lady Portensia, and he's going to say, well, thank you very much.
You are welcome. You and your friends are always welcome.
I'm sure we'll see you again.
I hope so.
And he will step into the barn.
Anything anybody else wants to do before you leave? All right. Then we will move to the scene outside of Witchway as you mount up on your wagon and you mount up on your horses and you begin traveling the rough path through town in the direction that was indicated. As you exit the the town proper, you can actually see to your south, quite many miles to your south, you can see the mountains rising in the distance. But you are heading mostly west, where it is now, for the most part, a lot of open plains area. You can see distant signs of forests and hills, and you can just make out the hazy forms of two large rock structures far in the distance. One of them looking like a spire rising up into the sky, and the other one, even at this distance, looking like a hand curled upward, reaching also into the sky. As you move along the road, the cart creaking and the occasional, probably, sound of Mizya whining.
Occasional. Constant din of.
We see in the shade of one of the ruined houses 6 yellow eyes with black pupils. They blink and then they recede into the shadow. And that's where we'll end tonight's session.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. I was like, how is Jake gonna find a way to end on like a cliffhanger? How is he gonna put an exclamation point? 6 yellow eyes.
Not every
that's
session's
how.
a cliffhanger, though. Sometimes there's just little
it's like
things.
Little, like, yeah,
Little
it's not a
nuggets.
Wow. Welcome, Raiders. Thank you all for coming.
Yeah, thanks everybody for joining in.
And everybody.
Thanks everybody who stayed with us tonight to watch the Raiders, the new followers. I am going to, before Jordan tells me, or while I wait for Jordan to tell me who we should raid,
I was just about to.
I am going to tell you one more time about something awesome that you should be marking your calendar for this Saturday, October 9th. Starting at 11 a.m. Pacific time on twitch.tv/TTRPGifts. Jordan, can you do a shout out in the chat for that channel? That is our friend TTRP Gifts is hosting in Oops, All Latins, a Hispanic Heritage Month TTRPG celebration all day long. 3 games. Looks like we've got Kids on Brooms at 11 to 1:30 p.m. Pacific. And then I really want to try this, but I don't. Pasión de las Pasiones. I don't know if that's right. I apologize if that's very wrong. But it is an en español stream from 2 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. Pacific. And then at 5 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Pacific is D&D 5e. All of these games are part of a charity fundraiser to benefit Raíces, Texas, the largest immigration legal services nonprofit in Texas, focusing on underserved immigrant children, families, and refugees. Please tune in if you can. Give to support the charity and support Robo's efforts over there. Robo, as I said before, is a shining treasure in our community. Please show them some support. Check it out. I will be sure to tune in when I can to see what kind of awesome is going on over there. You can catch, I believe, we kind of had a last minute cancellation last week. I think we're still planning on playing this Thursday for our next session of Dawnbringers, season 5, Rime of the Frost Maiden. I believe we're up to like episode 34. We are closing in. We are within the last 5 sessions or less of this season. It's our longest season to date, so please tune in to see what's going on with that as they begin to wrap up some of those story threads. And then mark your calendar for next Monday and every Monday after that, where we will be here with more Scribes and Scrolls, the Candlekeep Mysteries. Jordan, who are we rating? We got
Essential looking
Jester.
list.
How long has Zer Jester been on? Because sometimes he disappears.
Zerjester started just before us.
Yeah.
So
The last
Josh-
couple times we've rated, Zer Jester has left. Josh Simons. Yeah, we'll raid Josh. I'm gonna set up the raid. So we're gonna go ahead and we are going to get out of here in just a few moments. But if you please stick around for the raid if you can. Why is it not? There we go. It wasn't letting me pick them. We are going to send you all over there. Tell them MTD sent you. Show your MTD emotes if you got them. But just let them know. Hi. Again, thank you everybody who tuned in with us tonight. We do greatly appreciate all of you. And if you are one of those folks that likes to lurk quietly in the background and you don't participate in chat, thank you. We appreciate you just as much. And we respect your lurkiness. And of course, I have to, as always, I have to say a tremendous thank you to these amazing players. Gary, Jordan, Cari, Dwight, and even though he's not with us tonight, Ricky, without whom it would just be me talking to myself for a couple of hours. With that, we're going to go ahead and end this stream in the same way we end every stream. And you can say it with me if you want. It's so hot.